Hey there UK DCers, today I have a knife that I got in a trade, bit of a random one. I saw this reviewed on a channel called Clarky's Cutters. I'll leave the video of this in the description. I thought that looks interesting. I'll have to get around to getting one of those, and then I think I saw it was a super limited edition and really hard to get, so I sort of gave up on it kind of thing, because it's I really haven't seen much about this at all. Clarky's was the only place I saw it. So, however, one just came up for trade recently, and it happened to, basically fall in my lap. So, here we go. Happy days! I get a chance to look at this, and look at that. Very nice. I think this is all steel, judging on the weight. It's certainly not a light knife. In fact. Let me get some scales quick, because that is quite strikingly heavy. Let's put it there. There you go, 121 grams. So not, not earth-shatteringly heavy, but certainly on the heavier end for EDC. It's not a huge knife, and it's a little bit difficult to open with one hand, I've found. You can certainly manage it, but if your hands are even a little bit wet, this offers a fair amount of grip when you're holding it correctly, but when you're trying to open it, you've only got this to grab on, and where this is smooth, you can easily just, slip over that. So it's a bit of a game. It's, like I said, it's certainly doable as long as your hands are dry and not greasy or anything. But if you've just been working the garden all day and you've got some hot hands, this is maybe not the one to take out there with you. As for size, it's sort of quite comparable to a mini grip or something like that. It is quite small, although for UK EDC, that I'd say it's just like about average size. It's got a small handle. The blade's obviously all right there, like a shade under 3 inches kind of thing. Well, a little bit more than a shade, but under 3 inches. You do have a nice sharpening tool, I can see straight away. I do like this thumb disc. It's nice and grippy at the sides, which I like, because you really do need it with this one, let me tell you. But it's also angled, as you can clearly see. So you can really put your thumb on there, and that fits really, really sort of well. Your pinky sort of half fits on there. It does just about fit in your hand really well. It's a bit of a stretch at the back end here. It's you can tell by the shape of this. It's definitely meant for 3 hands, and the pinky's just extra, I guess. But it does work. It is a huge, massive recurve, which I'm not a super fan of that, but it is helpful for cutting like rope and string and things like that, a recurve, just to stop it sliding down the blade without actually cutting, although a serrated's probably better for that anyway. This is, as I said, they're extremely limited. This is 190 of 325, and it is in, was that a 9CR19? Or 9CR18? 9CR18 MOV. It is made in China. You got your little China just there. But nonetheless, it does seem very well made, nice in quality, good construction and that. Everything seems fairly even. I have actually loosened this, but it was a little bit tighter. I'll show you the gapping and that lot when I rebuild it, because that's not fair. That's where I've been mucking around with it, but it looks sort of very, I don't know, kind of obvious in your pocket, because there's quite a lot of my goodness. Okay, we're not using that. We'll use this bit of card here. And there you go, you get all of that sticking out of your pocket there. And as you've just seen, it's quite a fierce pocket clip there, and has actually made a line dent in this as well. That said, it'll be fine on jeans, denim, that kind of thing. Just softer materials give this a miss again. I do like the logo there on the pivot. I think that's fairly cool, nice and funky. Krudo Knives. This is my first Krudo knife, by the way. And there you go. So let's have this taken apart. It's a T10 here, and the logo part is captive, which is nice. I'm going to guess it's T8, surely T8. No, they've gone T10 and T6 because why not? Oh, I don't like how hard that is to undo. And that one. Okay, so I've knocked the pivot out because there's a lot of spring tension on this. Oh yay! They're all free spinning. My favourite. Oh, good. Okay, let's go and get another T6. Okay, I've managed to get the back one out by using these two. However, it looks like I'm going to have to use a soldering iron on these two, which is irritating. So, back in a moment. So, I don't think I've shown this on camera before. So, just for anyone that was wondering, it's just a basic Amazon soldering iron. And I actually just put it in the holder, find something to raise this up on, so say this set of bits, and then just rest the tip actually into the screw and just leave it a minute, and it should melt the Loctite. And there we go, with just a little bit of heat, it's enough just to pop that out. So we'll do this one as much as possible in real time. Doesn't often need a lot, although this one that I recently did needed a fair bit. Depends how much Loctite's on there. Really, there's really not a lot on these. It's just a thin sliver at the end. But you know, I've had some knives that have a hell of a lot on. No. Let's try heating up the other side. It's this one. Okay, let's try that side now. Hopefully. Oh, this one's really tight. It is going. I think it's coming out. I think it's just the spring tension on this that's really making this one. No, it's not. And you see, that's why that one took longer, because there's a bit more red Loctite on that. So yeah, it was definitely worth getting this out. Anyway, I'll move all this out of the way and we can carry on disassembling this. Okay, because I took the other side off, I had to sort of bash that through, but... And there we go. This is a very oddly E-bearing knife. Just give that a little clean, because bearings love to catch dirt and stuff. It's got the internal stop pin that just goes there, and this wicked hard spring that goes there. There you go. Right, the inside of your Krudo. I'll give that a little clean up and then put that back together, and we'll finish this up. This is another thing I should have made a video on. A while ago, I was just cleaning up a knife. If you ever find rust or oxidation or anything a little bit difficult to get off the inside of a steel knife, these rust erasers, you can get them anywhere that ships internationally, like Amazon is where I got these. You can get them in a pack of 2. There's that's the fine one. There's the medium one. Be careful with the medium though. This is actually really aggressive and scratches stuff up quite severely. However, that really does nicely get rid of any rust or blemishes or anything. They're not that expensive. I think it was $11.99 for both. And yeah, they do work a treat. So, fully recommended then. Actually, it just occurred to me, the knife that I was doing these on was this one, which I noticed was rusty on the inside. If you're wondering how that happened, thought it would be a good idea to be on the phone to someone and sharpen this at the same time. VG10's very easy to get extremely sharp, and I was just sort of flipping this after having just sharpened, and I think I did it there, it slipped, and I just put my finger in and slammed that into it. So pay attention when you're sharpening your knives. And there we go, all back together. That was not easy. I really don't recommend. It's annoying. This is a really difficult one to take apart. Not easy to put back together either. Getting these, like whichever scale to line up with these, all 3 of these holes and that, is a hell of a challenge, because this back string is not weak, but it's on bearing, so you sort of need to. You know, this definitely needed a clean, just from dust and such, but yeah, it's all right now. I mean, it's no easier to open or close for having fresh oil or anything on it. I think the bearings are a bit of a stretch on this knife, to be honest. Maybe if it was a lock knife or something, maybe it just needs loosening again. So this is what I did when I first got it, so I just loosened it up a little bit. Yeah, there's too much blade play now though, way too much. And now it's not centered. And you see what I mean, this is just not a good one to muck around with, really. This is definitely one you want to leave alone. Oh goodness. That said, if you're happy to not disassemble your knives, like many people are, and for good reason, you'll get along fine with this, I imagine. It does have some weird, fairly useless jimping here, especially. Oh, yeah, see, look. My hands are slipping now, but especially when you've got this here, you know, that's lovely. What I will say is you have this lovely little kick here, so it won't close on you. You know, if I try and push it closed on myself, I can actually just open it again with that finger. So, you know, it does feel fairly secure. I don't feel like this is going to close on me and cut me, but you know, I'll give this an EDC and we'll see how it performs. Overall though, I quite like the looks of it. I think it's, you know, it's certainly different, at least. You know, bold as it were. But yeah, I think that's fantastic. It's also worth mentioning, I got this in the same trade, which is fantastic. I've done a review on this already, so I'm just going to mention it here quickly. Lovely knife. It's the Bokeh Plus XS. I've had basically this exact one, except I had acid wash on the blade last time, and there were green, like OD green scales. I will be adding a little sharpening choil there at some point when I can be bothered. And I'll give this an EDC with the correct clip. I'm not going to do a full review on this. I'll just do a quick like addendum onto the other video and maybe a comment or something, and say if this clip works any better. But having tested this on my trousers, it doesn't look like it. It does look like this thumb stud here does still rise up too much above over the edge here, and it gets in the way of putting it into your pocket. It's not the end of the world, but still, there you go. Nice quick mention on that. But yeah. Oh. Krudo Knives. I guess it's just called the slip joint, this one. Yeah. Thank you very much. Oh, I'll quickly. Yeah, it doesn't say on the box either. Nice box though.